Hey guys, so today we're gonna be taking a couple of videos in this. It's a couple of videos in this reaction video. It is the Fantastic Four First Steps TV spot that was aired during the NBA Western Conference Finals, and it was a TV spot with like new footage. And then we're gonna be taking a look at New Rockstar's video about it. Sorry, and yeah. Fantastic Four. I've seen the trailers, I've seen the pics, the art that come with it, and I am excited for this film. This might be a good Fantastic Four movie. The last one, no, the first one that came out in the 2000s, it was great. The second one, kind of there. The first, in fact, I'm referring to the first one and then the rest of the Silver Surfer. The reboot one, absolutely trash. And it did that little spawn and did that little meme over the last few months. It was like, say that again. Damn it, that was a stupid meme right there. And then we got this reboot, and it's set into the Marvel Cinematic Universe at an alternate universe. For those of you guys who don't know, it's an alternate universe in the multiverse set in a retro-futuristic 1960s where they face off against Silver Surfer and Galactus. This time, Galactus is comic accurate. He's not a big old giant cloud like in the second Fantastic Four movie, which that was a terrible idea. But anyways, we're gonna be taking a look at a couple of things. First is the first thing is the TV spot from the Western Conference Finals of the NBA. This is on a YouTube channel called Clip Mania 01. It's 27 seconds long. We're going to put on the video recording. I'm actually going to expand the video a little bit so you guys can see it.
Fantastic Four. Sue, Reed, Johnny, hi, and Ben. Okay. As they race to watch the ESPN
Yep, there's the new footage. Red alert.
Of the National Basketball Association. Will the Fantastic Four make it to the Baxter Building in time for tip-off? Will family dinner get cold?
Hey, Herbie.
Keep watching the Western Conference Finals to find out.
I can't wait for that video. I honestly can't wait for the movie, man. As soon as those tickets go on sale, I'm going to buy my ticket. Absolutely going to buy my ticket. But now we're going to be heading into New Rockstars. It's under 10 minutes, this is it says Fantastic Four new footage, major clue hidden in Reed's tech. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and put on the video.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss.
Hi, Eric.
Let's talk about the new Fantastic Four First Steps footage shown in the promo that aired during the NBA Western Conference Finals. And thanks to whoever this is for pulling this cleaned up version of the footage.
Fantastic Four. Sue.
So some person named Dreams Talks did this.
And Ben. Okay. As they race to watch the ESPN playoff broadcast of the National Basketball Association. The Fantastic Four.
So they look at it's the entire clip, and then they're gonna read through the whole thing and then break it down.
Keep watching the Western Conference Finals to find out.
In this video, I'm gonna break down a really interesting theory that I think we can pull from this footage. And the best way you can support New Rockstars is by heading on over to our merch store.
Oh my god, that stuff looks great.
We have so many great nerdy designs, like this Future Foundation shirt. We have so many cool shirts in our collection, and by grabbing one of these, you support New Rockstars directly. Okay, so right away, the big detail here is that I was definitely onto something when I speculated about the Fantastic Four's wrist devices, which I noticed that Ben, Reed, Johnny, and Sue all shared on their arms, especially in that magazine image of Sue as the head of the Future Foundation. Indeed, these are not watches, but rather threat detection devices of some kind. In this promo,
they probably have the satellite up there.
Make it seem like their devices say alert, game time, because this promo was for ESPN's showing of the NBA Western Conference Finals this week. ESPN and Marvel Studios share a parent company in Disney, so Bob Iger can just make them do this. But in the context of the scene, Reed, Sue, Johnny, and Ben are all appearing on the Ted Gilbert Show, and in the April trailer breakdown video that we did, I linked the shots of them outside of Ted Gilbert's theater where they spring into action to deal with some threat, meaning that their talk show appearance was interrupted. And putting this all together, it seems like Johnny flames on and flies away while the other three get into the Fantastic car and fly after him. Actor Mark Gatiss plays TV host Ted Gilbert in this movie, and he is a host based on Ed Sullivan.
I think this is going to be the beginning of the movie.
He hosted the Beatles on his show in 1963 in a set that looked a lot like this one does.
It does look like it, yeah.
has an inside joke here that I missed in my past coverage by making Ted Gilbert the variant of Ed Sullivan in this alternate universe.
Wait,
they
what?
kind of have a joke here because Ted and Ed are alternates of the same name, Edward, and the surnames are a nod to Gilbert and Sullivan, the duo behind the great American operas, the HMS Pinafore and the Pirates of Penzance.
I have no idea what those are.
I am a very model of a modern major general, and a number of references on The Simpsons and shows written by Aaron Sorkin. Really, without Gilbert and Sullivan, we never would have had Broadway. And obviously, Matt Shackman is a great admirer of Broadway from his partnering with the Lopezes in WandaVision, and the Lopezes are right up there with Lin-Manuel Miranda.
There
and
is
Pasek and
so
Paul
much
as some of the
details
best
going on, I
breakthrough
can't
Broadway
catch
composers of our
up.
lifetime. Anyway, tangent over. Outside of this theater, you can also see a banner reading that it has been 4 years with the Fantastic Four, and I think
So
that
they've been
dates
heroes
this
for 4
movie
years.
as being
Cool.
set in the year 1965. I'm just expecting their origin date to have been in 1961, as it was in the comics. So when
That'd be
these
cool.
wrist devices go off, we now have to wonder, how did these devices know that danger
It's probably
is
a satellite,
happening?
but
Well, the
space.
straightforward answer here is that Herbie might work
Or
as a
Herb?
kind of police dispatch. We
Really?
learned recently that Herbie in this movie is being voiced by Matthew Wood, the longtime sound editor at Skywalker Sound, who's also known for voicing General Grievous in Revenge of the Sith. But knowing that these devices go off during times of danger also reframes why Ben Grimm checks his device during the atmospheric disturbances shot during the nighttime scene in the past footage. Like, if Ben could plainly see from looking up at the sky that some danger was happening, did he really need to check the device? Does this device display additional information? And what more can we learn from the exact look of this device? At this point, I am now going to ask you to go with me on a Reed Richards-esque stretch of a theory.
Okay,
but I promise it's
let's
pretty
take a
fun,
look.
and I think you're gonna like it. In this promo, the wrist devices display digital text of a certain typeface of a certain orangish color on a certain black background. You could say it's orange, but it's more of the typeface itself. And I know the text says game time here because it is an NBA promo, and it probably will not say game time in
Probably
the scene
will
of the
not do
movie.
that.
But since these close-ups all show the watches, I'm assuming the design, the layout, and the typeface of the text
Don't say
are all taken
TVA.
directly from whatever these devices do say in the movie. And I have to point out that the typeface and design matches the typeface design, kind of even the color of the text of the technology
fuck's
and the
sakes.
time variance
I knew
authority
it.
from the Loki series
TVA.
and in Deadpool and Wolverine. Specifically, the scrolling ticker text on the various TVA screens
That
showing
would be an
Nexus
interesting
events,
theory,
and
yeah.
the text on the TVA TemPad devices carried by TVA
It's
agents.
orange.
Whenever Miss Minutes has text printed out in digital text, this is kind of what it looks like. On this channel, I've interviewed VFX artists from Cantina Creative who created a lot of the text and images you see on screens and shots in the TVA in the Loki series, and so I recognize this text right away. So here's my Reed Richards stretch theory. What if Marvel retcons the TVA from being built by the Kang variant He Who Remains, aka Nathaniel Richards from the 31st century, to an organization built by the tech that was originally created by Nathaniel Richards' distant
what?
ancestor, Reed Richards? Actually, you wouldn't even have to call that a retcon. Marvel Studios could just give more clarity to what the nuts and bolts of the TVA are made out of, and they could be mechanisms and designs echoing within the collective
My brain is-
subconscious of many of the great thinkers in the Richards family tree. Reed Richards, Nathaniel Richards, and by extension, Victor Timely from the alternate timeline. Now, this might be unrelated, but Thunderbolts co-writer Eric Pearson just told IGN that one of his original drafts of the Thunderbolts New Avengers post-credit scene was going to be all about Kang. They went from
really?
a Kang post-credit scene to a Fantastic Four post-credit scene. So I'm thinking, what else is Marvel Studios going to reassign from
We will
Kang to
have
Reed
to
Richards?
see.
But I also don't think Marvel Studios is going to be that messy to completely undo their own world building by just pretending that Kang never existed. Really? I just think they're going to write off Kang as one
They
of
probably
Richards'
will,
distant
yeah.
descendants who went too far and too rogue. And Nathaniel Richards will just be alluded to in vague ways in conversations around Franklin Richards, the Richards bloodline, and how each successive Richards will be a greater and greater mind, but potentially a greater and greater threat. In Loki Season 2, it was implied that the TVA and all of the technology in it, including the temporal loom, was kind of the shared designs of Victor Timely and Ouroboros, aka A.D. Doug, Ke Huy Quan's character. These two knew of each other's
just
research and inspired each other
I'm-
in a
I'm-
chicken or
I'm
the
just
egg kind
in
of way
there.
through the TVA handbook. That TVA handbook was tossed in through young Victor Timely's window by Ravonna Renslayer at He Who Remains directive after the events of the Loki season 1 finale. But the Loki series ended with the young Victor Timely never receiving that handbook, as a way of showing that He Who Remains would not respawn as the controller of the TVA. So I pose to you, what if all of the technology that was originally used to build the TVA by He Who Remains was actually engineering that was originally conceived by his distant ancestor, Reed Richards, in this alternate universe in the early 1960s? All
Whoa.
genius scientists stand on the shoulders of those who came before. Oppenheimer stood on Albert Einstein's shoulders. Tony Stark stood on the shoulders of Howard Stark. Genius is something we inherit from the past generations. Drawing this link between Nathaniel and Reed would explain why He Who Remains and all the other Kang variants in the Multiverse War suddenly all had this multiversal breakthrough. They all could have looked through old records of their great times 300 grandfathers' writings, put two and two together, and then
Oh my
sparked
gosh.
the reinvention of time doors, something that could have been a theoretical concept of Reed Richards,
Dude.
whereas Reed Richards uses his multiverse technology to build a multiverse bridge to convene his Council of Reeds, something this new First Steps movie seems to be hinting at him doing. Reed's descendant, Nathaniel, will start with all of his variants in a peaceful way, but soon after fall into all-out war. And I think my favorite thing about this
Jesus.
theory is that it would create a pretty brilliant harmony with the design aesthetic of the TVA, not just the digital
There
text
is just so
typeface,
much going
but
on right
really
now.
the era
I'm
of the technology.
speechless.
Reed Richards' tech, evocative of the 1960s, the retro-futurist era. The TVA was designed in the Loki series to look like the 1970s.
It does.
The technocratic, bureaucratic
Oh my
era.
God.
And the way the 1970s really represented to many an aesthetic step backward, function over form that scaled back the visual excesses of the 1960s, the TVA could feel old and outdated because Nathaniel never really improved on the designs of his ancestor Reed. And he just really built all of the TVA out of the technology that Nathaniel found and dusted off from the previous era of technological thought. Technological thought that we're now going to see used by Reed Richards in this upcoming film. So, does this theory make any sense to you? Do you think Marvel would ever make this connection? Is it okay if it just lives on in my headcanon? Also, unrelated, but look at this new Fandango image of Reed and Johnny in space. Look at it! They're
looks
out
pretty
there
cool, yeah.
Trying to find the ultimate nullifier or something. It's unrelated to the theory I just posed. I just like this image and I wanted to share it with you. And I just like that the hatch in the background looks like a booty hole.
Comment
What?
down below with your thoughts. And special thanks to one of our
Oh, what
YouTube members,
the-
Rick Denman, who supports us at the executive.
Why did you have to
producer
say it
level.
like that?
Follow
Say
me,
that.
subscribe to
God
all channels
damn.
in the New Rockstars Network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, Eric. Oh my God! Everything he was saying was just making me go, just making me think, making me. Oh fuck, dude! They're probably gonna retcon and write off Kang in a way that doesn't make him like, who is this Kang? We don't know who he is and all that. Like, they're gonna do something about that. They have to. But if they do this connection in the Fantastic Four movie or in the upcoming Avengers movies, just have to see. But that was a good video from New Rockstars, and I cannot wait for the movie. As soon as those tickets go on sale, I'm buying my ticket. Get the ticket, get the far back seat all the way to the right on the aisle seat. Go over there, get popcorn, soda, maybe get a movie theater pizza. I don't know. But either way, I'm seeing it. And because of my theater usually does Thursday screenings, it means I'll be able to see it on July 24th, not July 25th. So I'm looking forward to it. It comes out 2 months from now, and we'll have to see. If you guys are excited about the Fantastic Four movie, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, see y'all later.